My name is Victoria Winters. The musty corridors of Collinwood are behind me at the moment. Ahead of me are the streets of Collinsport itself, and a journey that might take me into the dead world of the past. A journey I hope will start in a small restaurant on the main street of this very small town.
Hi, Bert. Hey, where have you been hiding?
My hotel room. Seems I had 10 years of correspondence to catch up on. Could I have a cup of coffee, please?
Sure. Hey, what are you doing? Running that international empire of yours from that hotel room?
Well, it's better than sitting around stewing about a missing man. Thanks. You know what I was thinking about up there? I think it was really Bill Malloy who gave me my start. When I was a kid, worked for him on the boats. He always taught me, never be afraid to take chances. Remember, he used to say, don't be afraid to climb up to the top of the mast. The worst thing that can happen is you can fall off into the water. So you know what I did?
Fell in the water?
Yeah, that's right. But the second time I made it to the top. He's quite a guy. Best in the world.
Yes, I always liked him.
Well, when he gets back, I'm going to buy him the biggest and best meal he ever had in his life.
Bert, haven't you heard the news?
What news?
The Coast Guard just pulled his body out of the water about an hour ago. He's dead.
Look, all I want to do is speak to the sheriff and find out. Well, can you tell me anything about Malloy? What about his deputy? Is he there? Well, when they come in, will you tell them either to call me? Yeah, Burke Devlin. That's right. Tell them I'm in the hotel restaurant and I'd like to speak to them. Yeah, thanks.
Did you learn anything?
No. Sheriff's not there. The guy there doesn't know anything, or else he's been told not to say anything. It's the same thing. Bill Malloy dead. It's hard to believe.
I'll get you some hot coffee.
You know, funny thing, Maggie? I have expected something like this. But now that it's happened... Thanks.
Burke, I'm sorry I broke it to you that way.
He was a rare man. One of the very few honest people I ever met in my life. I guess that's why he's dead.
You talk about honesty as if it were a disease.
It can be, sometimes. Sometimes. Sometimes you want to be fair, straightforward. Say what's on your mind. People don't care what you have to say.
Burke, you sound as if you think he was murdered.
You know, most people in this world want to grab what they can get. Yeah, that includes me. Believe me, I'm no exception. And you know how people like that end up? On top, the big hero. And someone like Bill Malloy is only looking for truth and honesty. He ends up with his face down in the water.
Burke, I can't agree with that. Honesty didn't kill Bill Malloy. It was something a lot more simple than that.
Like what?
Like the fact that he never learned how to swim. He fell in the water and drowned. That's all.
You know that for a fact?
Well, how else could it have happened?
Does your father know that Bill Malloy's body's been found?
Yes.
And I suppose he was as shocked as I was.
Pop took it pretty hard. They became good friends while you were away.
They did, huh?
Burke, remember all the laughs we used to have when you came to the house?
That was a long time ago, Maggie.
We had good times, Burke. All of us.
I think I'll try the sheriff again.
Burke, if Mr. Malloy didn't just drown, then what do you think did happen?
I told you he had a fatal disease. Honesty.
Hi, Maggie. Hi, Vicky. Was that the best you can do? Here I come into town to have a nice lunch with you, and what do I find? You act as if you couldn't care less. It's not a very cheery day. You know about Bill Malloy. It's awful. Vicky, up in Collinwood, what did they think had happened? Oh, was he in?
No. No, he wasn't there. Deputy didn't say it. Didn't seem to know anything either. Hi, Vicky. What are you doing down from your ivory tower?
I came down for lunch. How are you, Bert?
I felt better. Have you heard about Bill Malloy?
We were just talking about it.
I guess they're doing a lot of talking about it up at Collinwood.
It's terrible. You know, Mrs. Stoddard was very fond of him. So was Caroline.
And Roger Collins. How did he take the news?
How would you expect? He was very upset.
I'll bet.
What makes you say that? Why, it was even his idea to close down the plant for the day.
That was thoughtful of him. I suppose he also suggested an elegant marble memorial over Bill's grave to the death of honesty. If the sheriff calls, tell him I'm on the way.
What did he mean by that? I'm much happier not thinking about it. Well, I know he said he'd be here, Mr. Patterson, but Bert just left about a minute ago. Yes, he said he was going to your office. Mr. Patterson, tell me, what was the cause of Mr. Malloy's death? Do you know yet? No, it's just curiosity. Okay, so I won't ask any questions. I'll read about it in the newspaper. Does that suit you? Yes, sir, Mr. Sheriff. Just don't ask me the secret of my lousy coffee. I can be just as closed-mouthed as you can. Okay. Goodbye. Well, you came in here for some lunch. What'll it be? Clam chowder, lobster roll, hamburger, you name it. We got it.
Maggie, why did Burke act that way about Bill Malloy's death?
I thought we weren't going to talk about it.
It was so strange. It was almost as though... No, that's ridiculous.
As though what?
The way he spoke about Mr. Collins, the tone of his voice. But it was almost as though he thought that Mr. Collins wasn't sorry that Bill Malloy drowned.
Enough of this, Vicky. Now, you have a whole afternoon off, and all we do is talk about death. Well, it's not an easy thing to forget. Well, I know one way to do it. Something I told you the first night you came in here. Do you remember? You told me to get on the next train and go back where I came from. I'll bet you're sorry now that you didn't take my advice.
I almost did. A couple of times.
Vicky, ever since I was a kid, we were scared of that big house up on the hill. And that night when you came in here and told me you were going up there to work, I didn't even know you and I called you a jerk. Now that I do know you, maybe I can find some better words.
Maggie, it's just a house. Oh, it's a big, dark house with lots of rooms. But that's all.
And ghosts. And a cuckoo kid. And a woman who hasn't been out of that house in 18 years. Now, don't tell me that hasn't scared you at all.
I have a job. I work for that family.
So did Bill Malloy, and look what happened to him. All I'm trying to say is that it doesn't make sense for a nice gal like you to bury yourself in that spooky joint.
I have to.
But why? Do they chain you to the beds every night?
No. Maggie, I came to Collinsport to find some answers about my past. And I'm not going to leave until I know there aren't any answers.
Answers from whom?
Well, among other people, from your father.
Sam Evans, Harry. That's right. Just keep an eye on him so I know where he is. No, I don't think he has any reason to run. I just don't want to waste time looking for him if I want to talk to him. And, Harry, try not to be too obvious about it, will you? Good. Now, what about the tide charts? Are they finished yet? Well, you bet I do, as soon as possible. Oh, who? Oh, well, send him in. Right, and, Harry, call the doc, will you? See if he's finished the autopsy yet. Right. Now, come in, Burke. Maggie Evans told me you were on your way over. Well, I'm as anxious to see you as you are to see me. Have a seat.
What's the story on Malloy?
Only that the Coast Guard has recovered his body.
Look, I want to know the cause of his death. That's the only information I want.
Well, that's more than I've got. The doc is working on the autopsy right now.
How long will that take?
Why, are you in a rush? You planning on going someplace?
No.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Burke, because I'd kind of like you to stick around for a while. You know what I mean? Just stay right here in town until this little business is cleared up.
Let me tell you something, Sheriff. You couldn't get me to leave. I've got a lot of questions to ask.
Well, you wouldn't be trying to handle my job for me, would you? If you are, do me a favor. Don't. Sheriff's office. Oh, yes, Doc. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get that. He did, huh? Okay. And that's it, huh? Well, okay, thanks a lot. Yes, I'm afraid you'll have to. 4 copies. Yeah, that's right. We can't avoid the paperwork. Okay, thanks again.
Autopsy report?
Yep. Sit down, Bert.
Well, what did he say?
Sit down, will you?
What's on that paper, Sheriff?
We'll get to that. First things first. You want some water?
No.
Malloy? Bert? When did you last see Malloy?
Day before yesterday. Look, I just want to know the cause of his death.
Day before yesterday. That would be the day he disappeared. About what time was that?
Oh, I don't know. Somewhere between 8 and 9. At the Blue Whale. He called me and wanted to talk to me there.
All right, you met him, and then what?
We talked. He left.
And that would be between 8 and 9.
Yes.
And what did you do?
Well, I stayed. I had a couple of drinks. What are you after, Sheriff?
Information, Bert, like what you were doing between 10:30 and 11 that night. Or anything else you care to tell me.
Yes, there is something else I'd like to tell you. Did you know that Bill Malloy called a meeting at Roger Collins' office that evening?
A meeting?
Yes. That's why he met me at the Blue Whale. He wanted to tell me about it. Be sure to be there.
I see. Who else was invited to this meeting?
Roger Collins and Sam Evans.
Was Malloy there?
He never showed up. We waited an hour. I went over to his house, rang the bell, beat on the door. He didn't answer.
Maybe you better tell me what that meeting was about.
That would be a good question for Roger Collins.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was tried and convicted of manslaughter.
You were talking about the meeting that Bill Malloy called.
Malloy called that meeting because he felt he could clear me, that he could prove I wasn't guilty. That's right, Sheriff. He called that meeting, Malloy, between Collins and me and one other man.
Sam Evans.
Yes, I didn't know it was going to be Sam until he showed up. But he called it. Me, Collins, and Sam Evans. But he never showed up. And I think you better ask yourself why.
Only thing I'm asking myself right now, Burke, is why you expect me to believe that Malloy would call such a meeting.
To clear my name. To put the blame where it really belongs.
On Roger Collins, you mean?
Yes.
Malloy worked for the Collins family. You don't think he'd help to put one of them behind bars, do you? You don't really think that?
Look, a while ago, you told me not to meddle in your job. All right, you do your job. Go up to Collinwood and ask Roger Collins why.
I did.
Did he tell you about the meeting?
Yes, he did. He told me you were there and Sam Evans.
Did he tell you why?
No. He said he didn't know why. He said Malloy called the meeting, but he didn't have the faintest idea what it was about.
He's a liar.
Maybe. Maybe not.
What about Sam Evans? Have you talked to him?
Not yet, Burke. But I will.
And then when I told Mr. Collins that I might be having dinner with you and your father, he got very upset and he tried to talk me out of going. Did he say why? No. But maybe there's something about my past that he doesn't want me to learn. But what could my father possibly know about you? I don't know, Maggie. But you see, I was raised in an orphanage, and I grew up always wondering who I was, who my parents were, and all that sort of thing. And then there was the money. What money? Well, money was sent for me every month in an envelope. There was no note, just the money. And the postmark was always the same. Bangor, Maine.
That's only about 50 miles from here.
I know. That's why I took the job at Collinwood.
But how did you know they needed someone?
I didn't. I'd never heard of the place or Collinsport, but then I got a letter from Mrs. Stoddard offering me the job. I'd never heard of her either.
So you figured there might be some connection.
I really feel that the answers are in that house. Like in some way, I'm tied in with the family.
And you think my father knows something about it?
Probably not. But I've got to find out.
Let's do it. How about coming to dinner with us tonight?
I'd love it.
Good. Then that's settled. Now, about lunch. How does clam chowder, lobster roll, and coffee sound?
Great.
Good. Coming right up.
Maggie, there's something I have to tell you. If you hadn't invited me to dinner, I'd have invited myself.
Burke, where were you between 10:30 and 11 on the night Malloy drowned?
At the Blue Whale.
Yeah, but you said you were at Roger Collins' office at 11.
That's right. I left the Blue Whale about 10:45 and drove to the Collin Canneries.
Could you have left earlier?
Was Malloy murdered? Is that what this is all about?
Was there anyone at the Blue Whale who could swear that you left at 10:45 and not before?
Yes, there are one or two people, including the bartender. But if you think I killed Malloy, you're mistaken. I like that man. I respected him more than anyone in this lousy town.
I don't know that anyone killed him, Burke.
Sheriff, what's on that paper?
This? Nothing very helpful. He died of drowning. There was also evidence of a blow on the head, but unfortunately that doesn't mean much. You know what the rocks are like around here. His body was in the water for almost 2 days. Of course, we don't know how it got there.
Do you know where?
No, not yet, but we will, as soon as we get the tide charts figured out. What we do know is when. 10:45. That figures, doesn't it? We know he was still alive at 10:30 because his housekeeper says he was home and received a phone call.
Did she say who the call was from?
No.
Yeah, well, I called him at 11 o'clock. When he didn't show up at the meeting. Now, listen to me, Sheriff. If he was murdered, I'm saying if he was murdered, there are two people in this town who didn't want him to show up at that meeting.
Roger Collins and Sam Evans.
That's right.
Except for one other rule, Burke. If your story of the purpose of that meeting is true.
That was a wonderful lunch, Maggie. How much do I owe you?
It's on the house.
Don't
worry about it. The clam chowder was 2 weeks old and the lobster rolls from last year. Just don't send me your doctor bills.
I won't. And thanks. Well, I guess I'll do some shopping and then I'll go back to the house to get changed.
Fine. But don't forget to pick me up here at 6:30 sharp.
No, I won't.
Okay. Did you learn anything?
Listen to that, nothing important. Maybe I can get that cup of coffee now. Will you join me, little Governors?
I haven't got time. Bye, Maggie.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Vicky. You remember that meal we never had together?
Mm-hmm.
How about cashing in that rain check now?
I can't. I'm having dinner with Maggie and her father tonight.
Sam Evans?
Uh-huh. But maybe some other time.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure.
I'm called for coffee.
Yeah, thanks. Nice girl.
Very.
It's too bad she's always walking into the lion's den.
Stay tuned for Where the Action Is next here on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.